let the funniest things actually get recorded rather than before and after.
As usual.
As usual, yeah. Because we're recording. So we were talking about, John is, we're going to tell you, John's a little dizzy today, and we're going to tell you why here in just a few minutes.
What?
But we were talking about, before we got on here, we were going to start, with Bill's rental vehicle. So for some reason, he has his car in the shop, and he asked the enterprise rental person to give him the, not the strangest. How did he say it?
He said the quirkiest,
most unique,
the quirkiest car.
Ride, the quirkiest. That's the word.
Yeah,
the quirkiest car that you can possibly rent me, and the guy didn't disappoint. So he rented a 2000. What do you say? 22 or 23 Mitsubishi.
Well, let me
Mirage.
just open it so I can see a 22 Mitsubishi Mirage, and it's I don't know. It's a roller skate on wheels.
That's a good, accurate description. Roller skate on wheel. It looks like a very European car. My wife once, a long time ago, they were only out for a very short time, and there's still several on the road. And I love the car. It was not a Mitsubishi. It was a Nissan Versa Note, and it looked very similar to that. It's a little bitty hatchback. It's 4 doors, but it's a little bitty hatchback, and it's cute. It looks like something you could drive around Europe very easily and not have a problem, but it does not look like a very good American style car.
So talk John, about that for a minute.
In his infinite wisdom.
Oh no, I'll do that in a second.
Before we get to his infinite wisdom.
Yes, my infinite wisdom. Let's put that on hold, like we normally do. Talk about European driving just a little bit, because I don't think, especially people obviously who haven't been there, they don't understand. Okay, why the small cars? Why not the big cars? Why are electric vehicles so much more popular there than they are here, percentage-wise?
That's a really good question. I'm going to let you talk about that, because you've actually been to Europe, where I have not.
Well, that it's a European car.
Well, it is a European car, and the rationale behind European cars is, one, they don't need as much space, both in the car itself and on the road, because the roads are much smaller, the communities are much smaller. The streets weren't as wide, and they didn't do what we do and just tear out a whole bunch of crap and then put in wider roads, because why? They're very historical. We're talking here in the United States, I think our oldest structure maybe getting up to 200, maybe 300 years old, maybe not even that much, but that's our oldest. But there you're talking about, in certain parts, thousands of years old. So you're not going to tear that out to expand the road.
You talked about roads there, though. I think you mentioned it some time ago. The Autobahn is, it's like 4 feet thick. And so they don't need to replace them like they do here. And as you said, some of the older ones, the cobblestone streets, there's a funny joke about 2 nuns riding bicycles that I'll tell you someday offline. Two nuns riding bicycles on a cobblestone street. One of the nuns looked at the other one and said, "Wow, I don't come this way often." And she said, "It's the cobblestones." So the cobblestone streets they're older, and you're right. No car is going to ride nicely. Maybe a long wheelbase Mercedes or something,
right?
But they're usually narrow between buildings, and there aren't sidewalks or anything in a lot of the places. So the smaller cars are de rigueur,
right,
as it were. So, but yeah, that's an important point, I think, about some of them. But so talk, if you recall, about the Autobahn. What's the difference? Why can't we make our interstates last as long as theirs do? Because they have winter, and they have, all sorts of issues with their weather and potholes, but not like we do.
Sure. I'm sure. And part of the reason they don't have potholes is because what you had said earlier, they put more into the construction of the roads when they make them. I think that's a big thing to do with it. But honestly, I'm stopping short on that. With that, I'm going to say I don't know why they last longer. It's probably for a bunch of different reasons, and it could be also because they don't drive nearly as much as we do. They don't drive heavy vehicles like we do. They're you name it, we could probably associate it to why their roads might last a lot longer than ours.
They do
Specifically
have.
when we're talking about the autobahn, but
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
know. Again, I'm not a structural engineer. I kind of wish I was, but
Oh, you're
I
not?
was afraid of math when I was in school. No, I'm not.
I'm like
No.
5 years away from being a structural engineer, so I'm thinking
Yeah, well, I'm
I
closer to
may
being
go
a
that
lawyer than I am to
direction.
being a structural engineer.
Yes, you are. Well, I mean, you think about it, and they do have as big trucks, if not bigger trucks, which is ridiculous on some of the mountain roads. That they would have vehicles
Hmm.
like that. So they have them, just uh, not the number that we have. Obviously, I mean, Europe is much smaller as a whole than the U.S. is. So there definitely is some of that, and less traffic. Sure, per capita, it might be similar, but it's certainly less in general. But I think a lot of it is we have something called planned obsolescence with a lot of our
True,
roads, and I think that's an
with a lot
outcome
of pretty much
of,
everything.
well, it's true, but they assume that that's going to happen, that needs to happen at a certain time period, so they can plan for future construction projects. And there's just something to be said for that. It's a little different there when they put something together. I'm not saying it's better. A lot of people, oh, Europe, they're so much better. Well, then go there, then move there, enjoy it. But
Right.
honestly, that's one of the things I think that makes a difference. But if you've ever driven there, we were in a tour bus, and they're narrower than tour buses here. And if you're in mountain roads, you understand why they're narrower. But it's amazing. I mean, we met this driver was, I believe, was German, and we met on a 2 lane road. Maybe it's a 2 lane road. Met this great big tractor trailer contraption, and there were, and I'm not exaggerating, 2 inches on either side of the bus when we passed this tractor trailer. One side is the mountain, on our side, happily. On his side was a cliff and no guardrails or anything. And it was 2 inches between us and the mountain, and probably that
Oh, wow.
between him and the cliff. Yeah, pretty amazing.
So, speaking of cliffs and things like that, last week we talked on the podcast about taking the doors off of the Jeep. And so they
Yes.
have been off, and they've been off for quite a while now. And I took Jen and Peyton for separate rides, and we've been tooling around, and I heard Jen talking to someone on the phone. I think it was her mom, and she was saying how kind of freaky it was without the doors whenever I would get close to the side, because we're not mountainous per se here, but we have a lot of rolling hills in this part of Middle Tennessee, and so there are cliffs, or at least sides of the roads that go straight down for quite a bit, like a cliff. And I was getting close to the side of the road, and she was looking off, down into this ravine, and it freaked her out. And I don't know why I thought of that. Probably because you were talking about it. But yeah, so I can relate, sort of. That's all
Well,
I have
and
to
it
say about
is,
that.
well, and I wondered about that because I think you did send a picture of your Jeep with the doors off. And then
I did. Yep.
our mutual friend did as well, Brooke. And she had just seen one in
Yeah.
traffic, but that was carrying a tree. Well, I know you saw that, a tree like through the roof.
Yep.
And you couldn't really tell that the tree was there, but yeah, people using it's a utile vehicle, and very cool that people are using it for
Yep.
that. That would be one thing too, because we drove up Mount Evans in Colorado, outside of Denver, with a
Mhm.
rental vehicle, all-wheel drive thing, and we've talked about this white knuckled, driving, and Lisa gets to view the beautiful scenery. Although, as we're, with the cliff on the side coming down, she locks the door like that's going to help. Uh, and so, yeah, honey, we're rolling down the cliff. Good thing you locked the door. But she's snuggling up next to me as I'm driving. I've never seen the scenery because I'm focused on the road. It's a little scary, and something like that again with
Yeah.
the ravine next to you is it's a little bit scary, especially with the doors off. I'm with Jen on that. That would be quite a interesting look.
Yeah, and maybe think of it this way. The thought of me riding a motorcycle scares me, but you're perfectly comfortable with it. Same with me in the Jeep. I'm perfectly comfortable. I've been doing it so long and so
Mhm.
much that I'm perfectly comfortable with the
Mm.
doors off and riding along and looking at the scenery. So I really just think it's perspective and the amount of, let's just call it, practice that you have with certain things like that. Because like I said, that looking down over the cliff while I'm driving 50
Mm.
miles an hour does not bother me.
Wow.
And it did in the beginning. I will say it probably did in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the very first time I took my very first Jeep on the freeway
Mm.
going 70 miles an hour without the doors. That freaked me out, but now I could do it
Wow.
without a problem.
That's pretty breezy too. At 70 miles an
It
hour.
is very breezy.
Oh my goodness. So let
You
me
know,
just
it's
touch
less
on,
breezy
go ahead.
though, strangely enough. Well, it's less breezy strangely enough with the doors off.
Oh,
Like
why?
I can wear, so when I wear, if I have the top off and I just have the doors on and the windows open, I have to make sure my hat stays on. I have to tighten it so it stays on my head. I wore a hat. It wasn't even thinking about it. And was it this one? No, I think it was a different one. It was just regular loose hat. Didn't tighten it
Huh.
and started going. And there's not enough wind to pull the hat off. So yeah,
That surprises me.
I find
Obviously
it
a
less windy.
designed airflow of some sort.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, let's. I just wanted to go back to Bill's rental car, and I was truly giving him props
Yeah.
because you and I have both rented cars before many times, and he says I go to the rental shop and ask for the quirkiest car they had. Well, this is it, and we can post a picture up on the website or wherever you want to put it, Nick. But it's
Yeah.
this is
Because we'll
a
remember to
tiny.
do that.
I'm sure we will because we always do. And and somebody, I would love it if somebody said, "You guys forgot to post a picture." Well, it means at least they checked out our social page. It's good.
That's
Sometimes we
true.
do that just to
That
see
is
if you're
very
paying
true. I never
attention,
thought of it that way.
ladies and gentlemen.
That's
But a
true. Yep.
three
Well,
cylinder
except when
engine.
it backfires and they actually do talk to us.
That's a real problem. Yes, we don't encourage that at all. Uh,
Yeah.
this car, the Mitsubishi, was a three-cylinder engine with, what did he say, 14-inch wheels that were just tiny. But I told him, so this was my comment to him. I tip my hat to you, Bill. I'm always trying to choose the best rental in the fleet. You went for the quirkiest. You know what? I'm scheduled to pick up a rental tomorrow, and you've inspired me. Oh, I'm still getting the nicest one I can get, but I'll be thinking of you in the Mitsu because I'm not gonna get one of those.
Nice.
Oh, look how quirky it is while I'm driving, around the state. It's crazy. So, but good for Bill. He didn't need to
That's
put on a lot
awesome.
of miles, I'm sure. So it's pretty funny, and certainly that's a Bill thing. I love that about him. That
Yeah.
he'll do that
Well,
just to learn, and say, oh, look what I found out about this
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? As long as you can plug your phone in and listen to your latest PoddiMouths podcast, I don't think it really matters what kind of car you drive around.
I'm sure most people
That's
measure
the
it
key
that
right there.
way.
Can you listen to PoddiMouths? I'm sure they do. I honestly, to be perfectly, I'm kidding, but to be perfectly honest, that is what I look for when I pick a rental car: is how easy is it to plug in my phone, and does it have CarPlay, so I can actually use the maps and use all of the stuff on it. That is extremely now. It's hard. It's getting harder and harder to find cars that don't have CarPlay. But in the beginning, when CarPlay was a fairly new thing, it was very
Mm.
difficult, and you had to be very selective about the cars you chose to drive when you're renting, so you can have it.
Yeah, we had we don't call it CarPlay. We call the real name is Android Auto, and so that's what that's what we use. And I'm
It's
with
the
you though. It's
secondhand software.
whatever. It's the same. The cool part is though, you have an instant comfort level because every car then that
Yep.
has CarPlay or has Android Auto is it's like home because you know exactly how to maneuver following those maps and so on. Whereas it used to be when the rental cars
Exactly.
especially, would offer, some GPS that went with it. You spend half the time learning how to use the damn GPS, without
Yeah.
saying nothing about driving the car.
Well, you know what I find really funny is whenever I'm renting a car, that's still an option. And I find that I understand that there are people that probably aren't comfortable using their phones. That's just a given. That said, I find it very awesome. What's the word I'm trying to? Not awesome. It's very unique. It's very interesting that there are people out there that don't use their phones for navigation and actually get a navigation system. I'm actually surprised that a lot of the vehicles, the newer vehicles, still come with a navigation option in the infotainment system. Even my car has a map, a navigation system. I'm like, why would I need that? It doesn't work as nearly as well as my phone does. And a lot of the newer phones are coming out with true GPS, not just cellular
Mm-hmm.
GPS.
Mm-hmm.
So why?
Yeah.
It's interesting to me.
Yeah. I
Then
agree with you.
again, Ford did announce recently that even their electric vehicles are going to move away from CarPlay, and they're going to have their own native system in their car. And I don't know what that's going to be, but that'll be interesting if car manufacturers start to move away from Android Auto and from iOS for Apple CarPlay, because I think there's a little bit of a battle. There was a battle to get these things into the cars, and now the car companies aren't making any money on it, so they're trying to figure out how can we capitalize on this? How can we make money on it?
Well,
So
and
I
you
don't
are.
know if that's going to be the next big
Mm-hmm.
thing, but it'll be
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
You're right on about that, and that's why they're looking at doing it. It's a relatively simple recipe. The first thing they have to do is make it better than Android Auto or CarPlay, because if it's not, people will
Yes,
avoid their vehicles
people aren't going to put
altogether.
up with it.
No, they
Mm-hmm.
aren't. They just won't buy
Yep.
them, and that like let's say buying a vehicle without a rear camera these days. Uh, I'd never do it.
Yeah.
That's a deal breaker.
Well.
And
Well, no,
it's
but it's also
it's law
illegal.
now. Yes, that's true. It's law now. But I
Yeah.
mean, even no, I'm talking about a pre-owned one though that doesn't have it and is
Right. Okay.
grandfathered in. I'm not going to
Yeah.
buy that vehicle because it doesn't have it. After you have it, forget it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going without it again. And the same is going to be true, I think, of the GPS systems. Historically, you know what's happened with automakers' GPS systems. They have to be updated, and because it's not a constant
Mm-hmm.
update like it is with Apple and Android. So, yeah,
Well,
I think
and it's
that's
not their
problematic for
system
them.
either. Even back then, it wasn't their system. It was
Mm-hmm.
TomTom, or it was Garmin, or
Yep.
whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
they were able, going back to the money thing, they had to pay those companies, but they could also add a premium to it
Mm-hmm.
and make some more money on top of that.
Yep. Yeah.
And I
Well,
do
they
think that's an
charge.
issue. I think that for them,
They charge for updates too, though. And actually, so did
yes,
TomTom, and so did my first TomTom that I had was, gosh, it's been I can't even think how many years ago, 20 some years for sure. And they did not. They charged $110 or something like that for an update. Was it
wow,
annually? I'm not sure, but yeah, these days that really well.
that is
Again,
just crazy.
it was the only thing there
That's
at
just
the time.
crazy. That I don't understand. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. When I say I don't understand, I really do understand. It's capitalism.
Yes.
But it's interesting to me the just what companies will nickel and dime people for. But at the same, I don't know. I go back and forth. We had a long conversation, some colleagues and I, about where do you draw the line between nickel and diming your customer versus losing money because you're not nickel and diming them, versus what is the definition of nickel and diming? Do you want to be the lowest in the industry? Do you want to be the highest? Where's the value, the cost of value, and where is that line? And it's really difficult to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do it with GPS though.
No, it's not going to be a big money maker. There's no doubt about that. I think that okay. So I someplace, and I get Google alerts every day, and one of my terms is automotive dealership, and I saw one where people were complaining because at the end of their leases, they wanted to buy out their cars, and they would go to a particular manufacturer of their vehicle and try to turn the car in, and they were charging them fees and $2,500 a vehicle in order to buy their car out, and it's illegal. You can't do that. It's only illegal, I guess, if they catch you. But if it's not on the lease contract, you cannot charge it at the termination of the lease. The difference is, though, these folks didn't lease the vehicles from those dealers. They just went into a dealer cold who happened to be that manufacturer and tried to handle the paperwork there. It doesn't, I'm not saying that they still shouldn't do it, but that transaction is not going to stand on its own from a profit standpoint. In fact, it's set up to be a loser because you're going to use your
Mhm.
people's time and you're going to, go through the paperwork and all of that where you don't make a penny because everything
Right.
is predetermined on the lease agreement. So you have to ask the question, what is the upside, what's the downside, and what's the experience I want to be known for. Maybe they have two other vehicles in the family and I'll get a shot at the business for those, or maybe I can get referrals from them if I treat them
That's it
well.
right there.
But you
Yep.
have to figure that stuff out before you decide this is our process, rather than I'm just going to slap $2,500 on it and charge them through the nose
Yeah.
just because I need that deal to stand on its own.
And I think there are a few, and for those car dealers who are listening right now, I don't, because I know most of them. You're not the ones that I'm focusing on here, but I think a lot of it has to do with working smarter, not harder.
Mhm.
I think there's some dealerships out there that make a ton of money, but they work twice as hard as they need to make that money. They could probably cut half of the workout, make just as much money, and have happy customers just by changing their process and doing exactly what you're saying is building the process around the customer experience and making sure that you have happy customers when they leave. You'll make just as much money. Then if you put the effort in that you're putting in to trying to 10 pound every single customer that walks in, then you could double your sales if you keep your customers happy. I don't understand why it's so difficult. I really don't. I mean, obviously, when you get into the nitty gritty and the working parts of it, it gets to be difficult. But as a grand scheme, as a concept, it's not a difficult concept.
No, but it's a culture thing though, and you know that it's whatever your culture
Yes.
is turns out to be. I think about Twitter. Twitter's a good example, if you ask me. And no offense if you're a post or a pre-Elon Twitter lover, but he said he is working with a workforce that's about 30% of what the workforce was when he bought Twitter. So that means he's dumped 70% of the employees. And for the average person going on right now, do we notice a difference in the quality and the service and the?
I don't.
No, it's pretty much it manages itself largely, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's technology that is designed to do it that way. But if you are that top heavy or bottom heavy in any case in your employees, that's one example of maybe you need to get somebody to come in and take a different look at things, because the eyes through which you're looking are not fresh eyes. And that to me is one of the crucial parts of any company getting to the next level. You can't do it by doing the same stuff over and over again. We've all heard that.
Right. I think everyone can benefit. Even Jennifer has benefited greatly from having a consultant come in and look at the business. Guy does the same thing I do, but it's a fresh set of eyes because even I go eye blind. And you know what I tell my clients that as well when I'm talking to them is, listen, what I'm telling you is not hard, but I recognize that it's not easy, because I do it on a day-to-day basis and I still screw up.
Yeah.
There are things that I forget. There are things that I know I should do and I don't. It's human nature. The difference is, are you willing to try versus just ignoring it? And most people, once they hear that, they want to try, but they had been ignoring it up until that point.
Something you said just clicked with me.
I know I'm speaking on very broad terms.
Well, you are, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it clicks with me, Nick, because it's this is, and here we're very serious today, folks. I don't know if you've noticed that. It clicks with me because all of this stuff that we have prescribed over the years for our clients, it's easy to do. The problem is it's also easy not to do. And that's really what separates the top 10% from the bottom 90. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Anybody in the bottom 90 can become top 10 if they decide to do things a little bit differently. But it's right processes, right people,
exactly.
Right techniques, and so on. There's a lot that goes into it. Easy to do, but easy not to do.
Yeah. And it all boils down to, which is not something that I'll be the first to admit I'm not used to, and that is boiling everything down to empathy. There's a great deal of empathy that has to go into every decision that you make and every process that you build. And one of the most empathetic people I know, and he's probably going to hate the fact that I'm going to say this out loud. He was our guest last week on the podcast. Honestly, quite honestly, in a great way, he is one of the most empathetic people I know. And when you talk customer service with him, I mean, he can go down rabbit holes that I go down rabbit holes on SEO and digital marketing and all that stuff. He's that whole customer service empathetic side of things. It just in my mind a genius. And I don't use that word lightly. So,
no, Matt is very much
folks,
that way.
I do want to call out simply because there's a lot, and there is a bigger gap between when John's talking and I'm talking. Is there is a delay on both of our sides. I know I don't necessarily have to call that out, but I'm calling it out for the first time listeners. All thousands of them that are listening for the first time today. There is definitely a delay. So I'm sorry, John. Go ahead and say
the good part is I think we're getting better at it. We try to cover it up a little bit. I try to scoot in just a little bit early and anticipate when you're about to finish, and you do the same. So yeah, it can be a challenge, but it's okay. You think about this. I remember when we first started doing these podcasts, we were using smoke signals, and so it's changed a little bit since then. It's a lot more effective now without the smoke, and the house smells better too, I have to say.
Well, I don't know what kind of smoke you were using. I was definitely using some really good incense. It's right over here. Let's see, what flavor is it today? Let's see. It is cotton and teak.
Ooh. Can I just tell you, it always pisses me off when you use incense because it incenses me. Sorry, it's incendiary talk.
Ha. Ha. Ha.
Oh, that was nice. That was ho, 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 ho. Come on. Die Hard.
So that reminds me though of because you haven't seen Ted Lasso, right? I don't remember if you told me.
I watched a little bit, but that doesn't ring with me.
Okay, so are you all? I know you're a Downton Abbey fan, right? Well, I'm getting a lot of silence after that one. You still there, John?
Yeah. Oh, you probably can't see me. Yes, love Downton Abbey. It's been a while, obviously, since they've released anything. But we were huge fans. Watched all of it and the movies and
yeah. So, what was the Dower Duchess's what is it? The Dower Duchess, Dowager Duchess,
Dowager.
Her butler. What was his name? Spratt.
Yes, Spratt. Yeah.
So Spratt is one of the characters in Ted Lasso. Not Spratt being the character, the actor who is Spratt is in Ted Lasso. We know. And whenever he gets nervous, about something, he's like, it's disturbing and funny all at the same time.
Wow.
So that's what it reminded me of when I heard it. But and speaking of Ted Lasso and good shows, I did start watching Fubar to your recommendation. And stayed up a little bit too late last night watching it because I couldn't stop. It was very, very good. I did 1.5 episodes last night before I fell asleep. So yeah, nice. I was enjoying, and I'm not, Arnold to me is one of those, I'm an Arnold fan as long as I don't have to hear him talk, because I do think he does good, entertaining stuff, but it's so hard to listen to him. It's so hard. And I know that's all a Hollywood thing, because I don't know if you know the history, but Arnold, when he first came to the United States, he actually worked to get rid of his accent and had done a pretty good job until Conan the Barbarian. And they said, no, we want you to have your accent. And ever since, he's had that really thick Austrian accent, which just, it grates on me. It grates on me. But yeah, that's purposeful. It's not because he has a tough time speaking. That is literally his life character.
So. Yes, it absolutely is. And I did not recommend Fubar. Someone else must have. So I've never seen it. I have no idea what it is. But apparently Arnold's in it.
Okay.
So I will check it out maybe.
I think it might have been Matt. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called Fubar, and it's pretty entertaining. Would you like a quick synopsis?
Please. Yes.
Okay, so Arnold was just retiring from the CIA. He'd been in the CIA for 40 years, and he was at his retirement party, and he was called back for one more mission to go save an operative. Um, and turns out that operative that was going in to save was his daughter, who has been in the CIA for 10 years, and neither of whom knew that they were each in the CIA. So there's a very interesting dynamic
Yes.
developing, and so that's as much as I want to say, because I don't want to dive into the storyline too much, but that's kind of what it is. It's really it is entertaining. It's really funny. They did a great job with it.
Awesome.
And
We
then
have
another show we've been watching on Disney Plus is American Born Chinese, which is interesting if you like good kung fu movies. And one of them, or TV shows rather, one of them was directed by Lucy Liu, which I am a big fan of. But anyway, that's my those are my recommendations.
awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, on that
Thanks.
note,
I know.
you see the time. I love the on that note.
Yeah, I do see the time.
Yeah, so
On that note,
we should probably move things along, and we'll we have lots to talk
most
about on the
people
next one
probably
too.
think we really do, but there a lot of people are like, oh, that pause, that must be the end pause. Oh nope, they're talking again. So it's just one of those things.
Yes, there's
You know
a
what it's
pool
causing
going on.
with all of the delays, I'm actually reverting back to getting a lot of my so's and and things that I've worked very hard to try to get out of my vocabulary and out of my speaking patterns, but I feel the need to fill with a little bit of noise before you start talking. So yeah, let's hurry up and get back to regular Potty Mouse
Oh
talking.
gosh.
And those of you who want to see what that actually means, head up to PoddiMouths.com, check out any of our past episodes that are up there, or head to our social media and say something nice. Look for pictures that might or might not be there. It's a crapshoot. They might or might not be there. And then finally, if you want to see us, you can watch us on Spotify, but you could also head up to YouTube and check out Potty Mouths up there. We're up there and we're talking heads. Woo woo woo. Yep, that's it. Anything else to add, Mr. Pawsy McPauser? Pause. See, I'm filling time so you can start talking as I'm in that
I
way. It
can't
sounds,
think
there
of a
we go. It's a
single
natural
thing. And the problem is
progression.
that you won't stop anyway. I'll just keep on going. And it's going to sound weird because with the download, it'll make things overlap differently. So it's even more fun. Anyway, listeners and viewers, thank you. We
Maybe.
love having you here. And hopefully you have a couple of things to talk about or some crap to spout like we've been doing for the last 30 minutes. We're sure glad you're here, though. And we are very appreciative of our audience. Thanks.
See ya.